Next up, we're going to talk about Taste Holdings, which owns National Wholesale Jewellery and Dominos, Maxi's and the Fish and Chips Co. It has concluded a deal to roll out Starbucks throughout South Africa, has a market cap of 362 million rand, no PE and no dividend. So this is exactly what I was talking about, where these big international brands are pressurizing these smaller businesses to roll everything out themselves, and now we find Taste in a massive capital crunch. They're having huge liquidity issues. They've tried to sell their jewellery business to try and fund the rollout of Starbucks and Dominos, but there's no buyers out there because no one's buying jewellery. So what are they going to do?
Yeah, so they've indicated that they are in discussions with some of their key shareholders, and I think a week ago when they released their results, they said give them 4 weeks.
Conduit's a big shareholder.
That's correct,
yeah, that's
yes. So they've backed them, yeah. So they're talking about a combination of debt and equity to essentially recapitalize.
Another rights issue.
Yes, and it may be sort of preferential to some shareholders that or underwritten in terms of making sure that it's covered and they're getting the backing. So I guess you'd have to say, to give them the benefit of the doubt, work in progress. They sort of, I think, underestimated the capital and the scale of the undertaking in terms of converting the St. Elmo's brand to Dominos and the traction that would get, and then the amount of capital required to open these Starbucks, which are really destination stores to start with, and the amount of time it would take to get traction.
It must be very frustrating for management, because that if they can roll out these Starbucks and get some scale going, as well as Domino's. I mean, Domino's is a great brand. It's actually one of the best performing New York stocks of all time, Domino's. That they will succeed. They're just struggling to get the funding.
Yeah,
and the timing. And the timing's bad because of the consumer as well.
Yes, and what you're seeing was sort of the local operations, which were cash generative, and the jewellery business as well, which was cash generative.
Because essentially the jewellery business was funding the rollout.
Yes,
now
that's right.
Not doing that
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah, and they can't, as you said, they can't even dispose of it because it's actually also turned into a loss-making situation. So it's a bit of a perfect storm for them. So I think they were quite ambitious. If you look at some of the other larger, well-capitalized food groups, they obviously said no to Starbucks because of the scale of the undertaking and the commitments and the training and all of these things. It has to meet all their global standards. And moving into a very tough consumer environment. So not only for the new brands, which you'd think are more attractive, but the existing businesses also feeling the strain. So it is a tough, very tough space for them right now. I mean, I guess you have to believe in the potential for Starbucks and the number of stores that they can roll out in South Africa. Domino's, I don't know, maybe South Africans' tastes are a little bit different. I think the brand awareness is not as high in South Africa as they expected, and that has been quite a long road, and I think they've scaled down sort of the prospects there. So it's really Starbucks.
Are they going to be able to wangle themselves out of this? Because if they are, then this is a great buying opportunity. If they can't, then we could see them go under. So
yeah, so
hot or not,
you're buying an option on sort of Starbucks expansion in South Africa and into Africa. I think there's a long road to go. They're going to have to issue shares equity, as you mentioned, in some form or another. It's going to be dilutive. I'd want to see much more traction in terms of the plans and the balance sheet before I'd be committing any capital or investment to this. So not hot.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm not that much of a risk taker. I do think if they can successfully raise capital, the Starbucks model will be a huge success. But I'm not willing to go hot on it at this stage.